You are listening to the Space-Tastic Mysteries podcast. We are in the middle of the SpaceBase LVN Novel 2 series now called Strange Phenomena, which is the second novel in Anna Gale Line's SpaceBase LVN series. This is episode 15, Friend or Foe. If you have not subscribed, do so now. And if you are on YouTube, hit the bell to be notified of new episodes.
I nodded. I needed a break, that's all. Little Sophie needs her mama to take care of herself, Drew said, putting his hand on my stomach. I leaned in and kissed him, but as I looked back at the journal, I faintly saw something that caught my eye. I asked Drew, "Can you get me the blacklight in my nightstand?" Drew stood, disappeared down the hallway and returned with the blacklight. When he handed it to me, I shone it on my journal pages. Words came into view that were not there before. It appeared to be a list of people. Johnny and Tony gathered around me to see what I discovered. I scanned the list. All of these people have ties to the seats on the Supervisors. I know there was a scandal involving Inga Benson and her husband. It was bad, extortion, murder and money laundering, I believe. She would only marry these men who were widowed with lots of money who had supervisor seats. I pursued the list and realized the connection. There is this old story. I don't know how true it is, but it seems there was a serial killer who killed people on the Supervisors by inhabiting their bodies. I don't know how true that is, but I remember the story going that they kept killing the person, and when they thought he was dead, he would come back to life and kill again. What does that have to do with this list? Required Tony, tapping his fingers on the journal pages. These are all people whose family members were supposedly killed by this serial killer, I revealed, looking over at him. My mother's aunt and cousin were allegedly killed by this person, and it is possible this Sophie, who was best friends with Momma and Aunt Juls, was killed by this serial killer as well. I continued to run it over the latter pages. Her last message on the very last page. "Save yourselves. They are coming." "Who is coming?" Tony questioned. I turned and stared at him. "Does she state who they is? I guess we are going to have to do our jobs and figure that out." "I think you should check her vitals, Drew," Tony advised, looking over at my husband. "She is patronizing me." Drew rolled his eyes, then he replied, "If you ask stupid questions, you get stupid answers." "Tony, are you feeling okay? You aren't usually like this. Getting upset about a ghost telling your secrets and questioning who is they." Tony huffed. "It is not me, it's..." Then I noticed something sticking out of the pages. I pulled out an envelope. I lifted the flap to find old photos. I flipped through them. I spotted a prom photo of a younger Johnny dressed in a black, button-down, long-sleeved shirt and black slacks with his arm around what looked like Samantha, but which I knew was probably Mama. "Cute couple," I remarked as I handed it to Johnny. Then I found baby pictures of Aiden and Abby as well as Allie and me, and pictures of what we looked like the last time she saw us. I sensed that she knew who killed her before she was murdered. I kept moving through the pages with the blacklight until I gave up and moved to the next journal. I ran the blacklight over those pages as well. I stopped on one page where the words appeared, "Don't trust them. The people responsible are not strangers, but those you know. Check within them. They want to eliminate all like us. We are a threat to their existence. A threat to their way of life. They are dangerous. They kill humanoids." Humanoids, I wondered, looking around the room. As in Earthoids too? Are we not just looking at a phenomenon on India 7 but on Earth as well? Some of these people were killed long ago. I wonder if their autopsies are on file. "Just call out the names," Drew prompted, running his fingers through his hair. "If they are in the intergalactic database or any of the databases, we will find them." I spoke out the names as Drew searched for them. Drew remained silent for a few moments. Johnny slid a locket across the table, followed by a bulky manila folder. I opened the locket to find a picture of me and Allie on one side and Aiden and Abby on the other. Then I heard, "Alex, your mama will always love you. You are my little leader girl. I know you are going to do great things. My wish for you is that you find the love of your life and be able to fulfill your dreams with that person at your side. You are an uber empath. Draw on it. Don't fight it. Love you, Mama." I felt fear and terror coming from her as she spoke. It felt as if she feared for her life and felt she had been caught. A sense of resignation as if she thought she ran out of options. A solitary tear fell from my eye. I looked over at Johnny. I saw the sad look on his face. I reached across the table and touched his hand. "Oh hell, this cannot be good," I heard Drew exclaim. "What is it, sweetheart?" I posed, looking back at Drew. "The autopsies are in the Intergalactic Intelligence Bureau's database. As a consultant, I can see they are there, but I cannot access them because they require a higher clearance than I have. We need clearance of a section chief or above. Wonder what that is about." I shrugged. "Chip, please tell General Graham I need access to the autopsies of." Listing the victims. "It is a part of our case." I detailed why we needed access before Chip abruptly said, "General Graham has granted you access." I walked over to Drew, motioning for Tony and Johnny to follow me. I danced my fingers over the terminal. It took a few moments, but the list of autopsies appeared on the screen. Drew selected the first one of Mary Shaw. Across the screen, we could see the autopsy photos, the extensive notes of what was found in her bloodwork, in her toxicology report, and what happened to her body. Electrocuted, just like our current victims. However, something else was found in her system. There was the DNA of another being in her stomach. It is different from hers and does not have any DNA that matches the victim. As if she was hosting something like a baby. A baby for another couple. That would explain the not having any DNA that matches the victim, I returned, looking over at him. He shook his head and decided, "No, it is something else because it is like no DNA we have ever seen before." If the story is true, could it be possible for another race to inhabit the body of an Earthoid or Indigoid? I wondered, stretching my arms high above my head. That is not anything we have encountered before, so we don't really know. Actually, that is not true. We encountered something similar 10 years ago. Drew, Johnny and Tony stared at me as if I'd gone insane. There is a strange phenomena department at the IIB, and this particular section of the galaxy has a history of strange phenomena. Maybe because there are time travelers and time traveler killers out here. I don't know. What I do know is that about 10 years ago, when I was a lieutenant colonel on this space base, a woman came on board who was clearly hosting another being. The being would talk through her, cause her to do strange things, and when she wouldn't willingly cohabitate with the being, it killed her. "You are kidding, right?" Tony posed, not taking his eyes off my face. I raised my eyebrows and required, "Do I look like I am joking?" Tony responded, "No, but you have to be. There is documented proof in the IIB database if you care to do your research," I answered, looking to Johnny, then Drew, and back again. There have been strange phenomena happening since this spacebase was constructed. The wormhole, the timelines converging, the portal in the other timeline. It is evidently occurring in other timelines as well. "You are talking crazy," Tony persisted, tilting his head to the side. "Again, the documented cases are in the IIB database," I advised him, running my fingers through my hair. "In the other timeline, I experienced the wormhole. We had to travel through it to get to India 7, and it would open and close without warning due to the portal's effect on it." "You are saying you suspect these people were hosting other beings?" Drew interjected, studying the reports again, "based on your past experience?" "That is what I am saying," I agreed, holding the edge of the table. Maybe the other intelligence organizations or Freedom Alliance have encountered similar phenomena. I don't know. It was extremely weird, but I am guessing it is a race of people who need bodies to live, that they have to go from one body to another. I might have been sympathetic if they didn't start killing people. We could have even helped with android bodies, if it is possible for them to inhabit them. We have no idea if the being intended for the host to die. It is possible that the being inhabiting the person's body caused them to die, Drew maintained, reading and studying the photos of the autopsies. We wouldn't know for sure unless we had the opportunity to observe a person going through this process, and where are we going to find one of those? I don't know, I contended, meeting Drew's eyes. If the people who have died so far have been from the supervisors, is it possible one or more of them could be inhabited by these hosts? However, how are we going to get close to any of them to figure that out? Your grandparents and Ethan are aboard. Maybe I can get them to submit to a physical, Drew mentioned, reaching for my hand. Good luck with that, I responded, squeezing his hand. They hate submitting to physicals. I saw Tony activate a terminal at the bar that separated the kitchen from the living room. He pulled up documents and started perusing them. Every once in a while, I would hear, "Oh," and "Ah." Is he always like this? I posed to Johnny. Up until now, he has been sensible. Although how sensible as marrying my sister after a night of drinking? I don't know. Lucky Star would know better than me, Johnny admitted, glancing over at him, then met my eyes again. I find him to be entitled, even when he is not drinking. He must have been different growing up for Lucky Star to be so loyal to him. He is more happy since he married Abby, from what I understand, Drew interjected, moving his eyes between me and Johnny several times. He has to submit to random alcohol testing. It is at my discretion, but I conduct them roughly every few weeks. He has been clean every time. Drew wagged his thumb at me. Then he turned my terminal around to face him. He called up something that looked like Diane monitor readings. Remember a few months ago when we had that pandemic? When he saw me nod, he continued, Scott and I developed a way of scanning people to see if they carried it. Everyone who comes through one of the hangar bays onto the LVN and enters a travel tram are scanned and any malfunctions are reported to the hospital. However, we don't usually look at anything that is not an alpha medical alert, like something where the person's life is in danger. If those systems are in place, I deduced, looking between Drew and Johnny and back again, then you can pull up my grandparents' and Ethan's scans. Is that submittable in court? Johnny required, studying me. You are scanning them without consent. Drew answered, that is not quite true. The guards at the hangar bays go over it thoroughly. Yes, but, Johnny countered, looking around the table, they go so fast, trying to get everyone through that they could have told me that I was trapped on the LVN and could not ever return home, and I would not have comprehended it. They need to slow down. We must have people understanding, I decided, pounding the table with my fist, what they are signing and agreeing to when they come aboard. I can add additional personnel if we need it, Drew advised. We also posted signs in the travel trams and hangar bays. He scrutinized the readings. He pulled up photos of stomachs. He pointed to one and assessed, this is your grandfather's. It is clear something is growing in his stomach. Whether it is this being, I don't know. It could be a tumor or something else, but there is too much carbon in his readings, which is unusual for a humanoid. That would indicate that another being is residing in his stomach. I think it is fair, with these readings, to call them in for further examination. He moved to the other two stomachs. They have the same readings as him. Again, good luck with that, I maintained. I tilted my head to study Drew. Then something occurred to me. Hey, look up Aria de la Cruz and Xandru Zelensky. I think they were the two that we found with the beings in their abdomen. I also believe that the beings shifted the two to look like other people. Generals Leonardo and Ruland, I believe. Drew called the files up and summarized. I see the proof, but it is hard to wrap my head around the concept, which means we don't know the real people from the fake ones. Are the imposters the real Alex and Allie? Or are you two the real ones? Especially with the baby in your stomach? Maybe you are projecting the being in your stomach to appear to be a baby. Johnny watched me clench my fists and breathe several times. Dr. Morgan, you are going to want to back up. When her mother got that look, I was in danger. I am suspecting the fact you told your wife of 20 years that you didn't know the difference between her and an imposter and that baby that is in her. That you did a DNA test on because you thought I cheated on you, I added, casting a glance at Johnny. You know why, Drew countered, turning to stare at me.
You have been listening to the Space Tastic Mysteries podcast. If you'd like to learn more about Anna Gale, you can go to annagaillines.com. It's ANNAGAILLYNES.com. And there you can download the first book in the SpaceBase LVN series called The Last Chance Station for free. You can also buy her other science fiction books on the website, Amazon, BN.com, Lulu, and many other online outlets. Also sign up for the newsletter to keep updated as to what's going on in the world of the Anna Gale Lines podcast, her motivational podcast that helps women live significant lives, and Space Static Mysteries podcast. Follow her on social media, Lady Anna Gale on TikTok, Anna Gale Lines on Twitter, and Anna Gale Lines Artist on Instagram. Join our Facebook page at facebook.com/author Anna Gale. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being you.